Hello, Jim.
Greetings. Hi, Joe.
Greetings, sir.
I see Lyndon is on. Shanna.
Jim, I'm here. I can't get my video to work, but I'll work on it here.
Please do. We need your presence physically.
Oh, yeah.
You've got the share video at the top.
Yes. When I click it, it says I need a different camera. Well, there's only one camera on this computer.
That's about the extent of my technical knowledge is punch the button.
I hear you.
You can choose the start video at the bottom of it. Should be a drop down arrow.
Uh-huh. Got that.
And from the drop down arrow, you should be able to video settings.
Yeah.
And from there, camera, is there a drop down, a different camera you can pick?
Let's see. No, there's only one.
Okay, the integrated webcam.
Yeah, it just says the HD webcam. Let's see.
Okay. How's it going? Making any progress, sir?
I don't think so. I tell you what, since I've got a minute, let me restart the computer and we'll see if it can come back.
Yes, sir. Mr. Wade, your day going good, sir?
Yes, sir. I can't complain. It's been busy. That's the way we like it.
Been busy. So I don't know your profession. What do you do, sir?
So I have a tax and wealth management practice. And I've done both today. There's Lyndon.
It's working
Greetings,
now.
sir.
He's on mute now.
It's amazing what you do when you reboot that computer.
How about that, huh?
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Good deal, Lyndon.
Yeah, it is.
We've got about 6 more minutes. I don't have a quorum yet.
Okay.
Kind of stresses you out there. You got to wait for time to tick.
Yeah.
I found with virtual meetings with my office that people show up the last second.
I've been in a virtual conference for 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is about the third one I've been in. So those are pretty interesting. You go, bang, bang, bang from one meeting to the next.
Yep, they are.
A lot of time sitting here, but at least you're not somewhere you can't do anything.
Are you in your office, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Hi,
Dee.
Dee. You're muted, Dee.
She's looking.
There we go.
There you go.
Right,
Oh,
right.
I didn't do that.
we've got about 2 minutes and don't believe we have a quorum yet.
Good evening, everyone.
Here's Soji.
Hey,
Greetings. Charles, are you still there?
I am. I'm here.
Okay, I've got 7 o'clock and I think we have a quorum.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you ready to go?
We are.
Okay, so this is the Board of Adjustment for the town of Sunnyvale. This is our regular monthly meeting, December the 7th, 2020, 7 p.m. We're meeting via Zoom. Members present are Jim Wade, Soji John, Lyndon James, Dee Blackwood, Joe Turner. So I'm calling the meeting to order. Meeting was posted in ordinance and in compliance with the open meetings laws. Agenda was posted and you have a copy of that agenda with you. Two items in the first approval section. We need to approve the minutes of the August 3rd, 2020 regular meeting of the Board of Adjustment and the minutes of the October 5th, 2020 regular meeting of the Board of Adjustment. You have copies of those minutes in your packet. Any questions, concerns, amendments, revisions?
None from me.
And from me.
Me either.
None for me.
I'm hearing pretty much nones from everybody. If not, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 3rd and October 5th minutes, please?
I'll make a motion, Jim.
Okay,
Mr.
that was motion made by Joe, seconded by
I'll second it. Lyndon.
Lyndon. Thank you. Motion made and seconded on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as stated, so signify. We're just going to say aye.
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 I think that's everybody. Anybody opposed? No, we're going to pass those unanimously. We're going to hold a public hearing tonight to discuss, consider, and act upon a request for a variance to section 3.04.07 of the Unified Development Ordinance to allow for an exception to the minimum lot size requirement for an accessory dwelling unit on the property zoned SF1, located generally at 102 North Pascal Road. Folks, you have a copy of that request in your packet. I might ask Charles to introduce this item to us.
Sure, I'm actually going to hand it over to Zachary Mans to do the staff report.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Zach. This item to us.
Sure,
Yes.
I'm actually going to hand it over to Zachary Mans to do the staff report.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Zach.
Good evening, members of the board. Can everyone hear me okay?
Sure,
Yes.
I'm actually going to hand it over to Zachary Mans to do the staff report.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Zach.
The applicant is requesting a variance for the property located at 102 North Pascal Road. Okay, thank you. The property is used for residential purposes in an SF1 zoning designation. The applicant's property sits on
Zach,
a 3-2
Zach, we're getting a feedback or
in a one zoning
echo somewhere here.
construct a 2,000 square foot
Zach,
accessory
Zach, we're getting a feedback or
in a one zoning
echo somewhere here.
construct a 2,000 square foot
Zach,
accessory
Zach,
Can everyone try muting if you're not talking?
okay, start over, please, Zachary.
Okay, can everyone hear me okay now?
That's better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Start over, please, Zachary.
Yes, sir. Okay, the applicant is requesting a variance for the property located at 102 North Pascal Road.
Zachary.
Yes, sir. The property is used for residential purposes and a single-family one zoning designation located at 102 North Pascal. The applicant's property sits on a 1.32 acre lot, and they'd like to construct a 2,000 square foot accessory dwelling behind the current structure to accommodate their disabled son. In doing so, the applicant would like to request a variance from section 347 of the Unified Development Ordinance, which requires that accessory dwelling units are only eligible on lots that are 2 acres or greater. From section 3, while staff is sympathetic to the needs facing the applicant, based on a review of the UDO's criteria for varying from this requirement, staff does not believe that this situation meets the criteria for a variance. Staff notes that
Zachary.
criteria for varying from this requirement, staff does not believe that this situation meets the criteria for variance. Staff notes that
Zachary.
Yes, sir, Mr. White.
Zachary, you seem to be in the council room
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering if part of the problem is either the speakers are feeding back into your microphone, or maybe the council microphones are on and catching your echo. Can you see if anything there is causing this echo or feedback?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking into this. It seems like I am echoing.
Yeah, that's better right there, whatever you're doing.
Okay.
So maybe you had to turn some speakers off.
Mr. Chairman, I'm looking into this. It seems like I am echoing.
Yeah, that's better right there, whatever you're doing.
Large delay between the echo.
Turn some speakers.
Zach, just come to my office to finish the presentation.
Yeah.
Turn off Sunnyvale meeting room speakers in the echo.
Turn some speakers.
Zach, just come to my office to finish the presentation.
Yeah.
Turn off Sunnyvale meeting room speakers in the echo.
There's a
Zach, just
tremendous.
to finish the presentation.
Yeah. Turn off Sunnyvale meeting room speakers in the echo.
There's a tremendous.
To finish the presentation.
Yeah, there is a tremendous repeat echo in this. There's a tremendous.
To finish the presentation.
Yeah, there is a tremendous repeat echo in this. There's a tremendous.
To finish the presentation.
Yeah, there is a tremendous repeat echo in there's a tremendous.
To finish the presentation.
Whoever has control, could they mute the Sunnyvale meeting room?
There's a good. Let's see what that does. Okay, Zachary, thank you.
I apologize, everybody.
Maybe that is going to clear everything up. Maybe we were getting some feedback echo, something from the meeting room. So we really need you to start over, Zachary.
No problem. I apologize, board, Mr. Wade.
That's okay.
You do have a little bit of a technical difficulty, but can
We're
everyone hear me
fine.
okay now?
Good.
Okay, let's start over. All right. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulty.
We're okay.
So starting over, the applicant is requesting a variance for the property located at 102 North Pascal Road. Pull up the presentation here as well.
Zach, could you do one thing? Could you display the packet?
Yes, sir. I am right here. Gotta find it. Let me pull it up real quick.
Applicants, I know that you're standing by there. I see you. Apologize for the little technical problems here, but we'll get to you in just a second. Thanks for your patience.
Okay, here we are. Can everyone see the presentation okay?
Not yet.
Not yet. Share screen.
There we go.
There we go. We're okay? Okay. All right. Okay. And we're good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, I apologize, everyone. Okay. So the applicant is requesting a variance for the property located at 102 North Pascal Road. The property is used for residential purposes and a single-family 1 zoning designation. The applicant's property sits on a 1.32 acre lot, and they'd like to construct a 2,000 square foot accessory dwelling behind the current structure to accommodate their disabled adult son. In doing so, the applicant would like to request a variance from section 347 of the Unified Development Ordinance, which requires that accessory dwelling units are only eligible on lots that are 2 acres or greater. While staff is sympathetic to the needs facing the applicant, based on a review of the UDO's criteria for varying from this requirement, staff does not believe that this situation meets the criteria for a variance. Staff notes that there can be a number of justifiable circumstances to deviate from this requirement, and that granting a variance will create a precedent that will undermine the 2-acre requirement that has been established by the community. That said, public notice was sent out to properties within a 200-foot buffer, and there was one notice in favor. In the event of approval from the Board of Adjustment tonight, staff notes that the applicant must obtain a specific use designation permit to construct the structure that is subject to authorization from both the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Town Council. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Board. Again, my apologies for the technical difficulties, and I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Zachary. Questions from the board? Any discussion from the board? Zachary is showing a picture now of the drawing. At least on my screen, the existing home is at the top of the drawing. The green is the accessory dwelling, which is at the back of the property. Zachary, I assume the yellow is a driveway or something?
Yes, sir. This leads back to the accessory dwelling from the initial structure. This is a lead into that, yes.
Jim, could we see that previous slide again and identify what's circled there?
In blue is the actual property of the applicant.
The solid blue?
The solid blue.
Member James, this is the 200-foot buffer area. These are the adjacent properties that we send out public notice letters to.
I got you. Okay.
Did you get a response from the house that's to the north of this current property?
No, sir. The notices in favor we received from the properties at the south.
Which is that correct?
I'm sorry. Please repeat, Member John.
Which is the fence supply company? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, I would really like to see the response of the house rather than the fence supply company, because I don't think the fence supply company may care that much. The house might.
So what Member John has requested is some kind of a dialogue with the property owner to the north who did not respond to our request. I'm not sure that we can request or we can force a dialogue. I think we have to make the request and they choose whether they respond or not. Charles, Zachary, you're more experienced at that process.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. Typically, the process is that we send out notices, but it's up to them to decide whether they want to respond. I think the thought process being is if they feel strongly enough about it, they'll take the time to respond. So we don't typically hold up a process to try and kind of get a second stab at getting people to respond.
Other questions, comments? If not at this time, I would ask the applicant to make any comments or statements that they would like to make at this time.
Hey, first, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I want to thank y'all for your time tonight for this consideration. As we put in there, we have a adult disabled son. What we want to do as we put in the application is to have an accessory dwelling. We want to try to give him some independence. we're faced with, though, he still needs supervision and sometimes assistance. And that's why we're looking at doing it on the property we're at. We know it's a 2 acre. We can read of course, what it says in the zoning. And when we're looking at our property, certainly, as we know, to the east and to the south of us is the fence company. Did I understand the fence company had no problem with it in the response? Okay. To the east, there's a 9-foot metal fence. To the south, there's an 8-foot stone fence. To the north, to the property for the 102B that was questioning if they sent a response, is an 8-foot privacy fence. And so where the house will be located, basically all of view would be the roof line. The house itself will be not visible, very visible, a little bit if you drive down the street and see down the driveway. We know what the zoning says, but that's why you have this board to take consideration. We didn't know was going to need this additional space. 7 years ago, 8 years ago, we looked into it, and to build an accessory dwelling back then, it was, you could have less land. As some of y'all know that live in Sunnyvale, there's houses that have 1 acre or less that has accessory dwellings on it. You can go to Jobson, you can go to Harris, you can go to Tripp, and you can see these houses. There's some listed on realtor.com for sale. So we're not asking to do something that hadn't been done before. And we're asking for the consideration because of our unique situation with the disability. We live in a world where exceptions are made for this, in where you park, in restroom facilities, and access to buildings. And so to say this sets a precedent for any land less than 2 acres, I almost want to disagree. Maybe you're setting a precedent with a particular disability that would qualify it. But that's kind of why we're in front of y'all asking for this. It's something that our family needs. We love Sunnyvale. My wife built the house 24 years ago. Some of y'all know Shayna. But this is something that she didn't foresee needing, but today it is. So that's why we're asking for what we're asking for. I'm looking at my notes. I can't remember everything. Is there any questions I could answer for y'all that could help y'all in making a favorable decision for us?
For me, the only question I really have is what the property owner north of you says regarding this, because I think it would affect his property values. I'm concerned that it would. I don't know that how much it would, but I'd like to know what he or she thinks of it.
I'm gonna need your help.
His concern was the property owner.
Oh.
He's hard of hearing, and you were very mumbled there, so I'm trying to tell him what you said.
It's between the hearing aids and the sound. It's a little difficult, but so the concern was the property owner to the north.
What the Razzos think.
You know, in terms of the property owner next door, I can't speak for him. We have a very good relationship. They built the house 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Could y'all make another attempt to reach out to him and see how he felt about it?
I mean, if you're okay with that, we can. That would require us tabling this for a month while we reach back out to them and then pick it back up at our meeting next month. So it's a time thing. But that's really, at this point, it's y'all's call if y'all are willing to delay for that purpose.
You know, we're at a point, we know with what's happening, there's a number of things that we had to go through. I won't call them hurdles. This is a hurdle. We're okay with it because I don't want something that's going to create a bad relationship with a neighbor, literally a next door neighbor. So if that would help for the board to make a favorable decision, if it's a deal breaker, certainly we don't want that to happen. If it could help persuade y'all to let us go forward with this, certainly the time is not a problem at all. I don't want it to be a waste of time for anyone. But that's kind of where we're at with it. We want to make sure the right thing is done for the right reason.
Am I muted or unmuted?
We can hear you now.
Okay, great. It was mentioned in our packet that an alternative that would pass muster perhaps more easily would be an addition onto your current home. Talk about that a little bit. Is that an option you've looked at?
When we looked at an addition to the current home, certainly with the way the house is built today, it would take some major restructuring to tie it together. So often, if you have the plans to extend the house, to make a house bigger in the future, you'll have it built where the addition makes sense. For us to do it, it would be relocating bedrooms, moving bathrooms, things like that, because of the restrictions of the how narrow the lot is for us to go back. Literally at the back of both sides of the house, you probably can't see it in this drawing, but in our drawing, they are bedrooms that go all the way to the very back of the house. And so for us to do that, it would be a complete redo it, take a master bedroom away or take 2 bedrooms and a bathroom away to extend it back. And that's why we looked at the accessory dwelling, as it would make more sense to do it that way as a standalone, so we could keep, again, the little bit of independence that we're trying to get for the adult son, but still with us close enough to help. And that's how we came up with this solution. If I answered your question.
I appreciate that very much. And in the plan you have, I know it's got to go through a process also of being approved if it came to that, but it's a fairly sizable dwelling with, I assume, with all the accommodations that you think you need.
Yeah, we certainly we want to go forward with it, but we knew this was going to be the first step. We feel if we can get an approval here, we want to employ an architect design team to come up with the house the way we need it, that fits within the restrictions of the size. And so that would be our next step once we get an approval. We know that there's the special use and all that we have to go through for the permitting through the town council to approve and all that. So we're prepared for that. The reason why I gave you the basic drawings today was to give you an idea of what we want to do to go forward, instead of employing an architect and then it's like, no, you can't. But we're prepared for that if we can go forward from this step.
Mr. Chair, you need to unmute if you're talking.
Excuse me. Any other questions for the applicant? Hearing none, then open the public hearing to any members of the audience or any members on the Zoom who have a question or a comment with regards to this application. Charles, Zachary, you'll have to tell me if there's anybody raising their hand.
We're checking right quick, Mr. Chair. Thank you. There are no hands raised and no comments on it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Hearing no comments or finding any comments from the audience, then I'll close the public hearing at this time and turn it back over to the board for discussion. Any questions of staff? One question that I have is a reference to other properties in town where we have accessory dwellings that are on acreage less than 2 acres. Do we have any statistics on this? How many there are? Whereabouts they might be located?
I don't have that information. I don't know. I think the 2 acre, as the property owner suggested, is a newer requirement that was adopted when the current Unified Development Ordinance was put into place. So it's likely that there are, but I don't know how many.
Did that come into place after the property was north built or before?
You broke up there. I didn't quite understand you.
Did the new requirement of 2 acre lots for the accessory dwelling, did that come into place before the property owner to the north built or after? Because it seemed like they built 3 or 4 years ago. I'm wondering when the new requirement came into place.
So the UDO was adopted in 2018 in March. I don't know specifically when the property owner to the north constructed their building.
Property owner to the north built their home in 2017.
So that would have been under the prior requirements.
Yes. You know, I'll just throw out there, you know, I do not like to violate our ordinances and usually try to find a way to not do that. However, this presents a little different situation, and sometimes we have to look at that. This is a property that backs up to commercial property. There will be no residential to the east. There is probably no residential to the south. That property has been looked at several times for commercial purposes. A unique piece of property that would probably have a hard time being developed as residential and may even be zoned as highway commercial. So that presents a situation where this is an accessory dwelling backing up to commercial property, trying to fit a unique situation, excuse me, trying to fit a unique situation here with a disability individual. We have no guarantee, of course, that these folks, the applicant, will continue to reside at this property forever. But if we prove this, that we're stuck with the accessory dwelling. I don't know that that's a hindrance to the town. The character of the neighborhood does not change. And if they were to sell the property, they would sell it with an accessory dwelling. I do know that there are others in town that do have accessory dwellings. I'm not sure that I know where any are that are on less than 2 acres, but I'm betting there are. So I'm not sure that meets our criteria, but it could be that it might be acceptable, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I concur with what you said, Chairman Wade. The only concern I really had is the neighbor to the north. If we had information that he signed off on, then I would have no problems that in
I wish we could make everybody state their opinion with regards to these applications. Unfortunately, we can't. And I hear you. I've suffered through that through the years of wishing I had more input from folks that are affected. And under prior ordinances, we did 400 feet, but now we're back to 200, which is all that's required by the state. So I hear you. I wish we had had their input. I'm assuming that the applicant would meet all of our building requirements such that this property would be of the same elevation, a masonry character as the primary residence. I'm sure we do not vary any from that. It does have to be approved by the council and P&Z perhaps. Is that correct, Charles?
So, Mr. Chairman, yes, it would have to go through the process for the specific use designation where council would approve a specific site plan and floor plan, and we'd show them building elevations. However, I want to remind the board, if you're not, or let you know if you're not aware, that a couple years ago, the state legislature did pass some legislation that preempted our ability to regulate building materials. So we can't guarantee that it will be constructed of any specific material other than the fact that whatever material they choose has to comply with the building code. But we would certainly encourage them to do so.
Yeah, that's true. I had forgotten that. Thank you. Other comments?
Jim, this is Lyndon. I'm looking at this a little bit like you suggested there, that there's really no harm on the south and the east side to anyone relative to this. And on the north side, you know, I think the folks had an opportunity to respond, and for whatever reason they didn't, and that's fine. I wouldn't want to put them in the position of a thumbs up or a thumbs down on this anyway. So I to some extent, you could say it sets a precedent, but I'm leaning toward the applicant's argument that this is pretty unique in terms of where the adjacent properties, what they are and where they are, and I would be willing to approve this myself.
Thank you. Other comments? Okay, if not, then I would entertain any motion that a member might make.
Well, again, this is Lyndon. I would make a motion that we approve this this request for this variance. Not sure exactly how to state it at this point, but to approve this accessory dwelling as noted, of course, with any follow-on, anything that the applicant needs to do to follow on to achieve the building permits and building approval that would come about.
Thank you, Lyndon. And if I can just put that in the form of a motion, you're voting, or you're making a recommendation to grant the request for a variance to section 3.04.07 of the UDO to allow for an exception to the minimum lot size requirement for an accessory dwelling unit on the property zoned SF1 located generally at 102 North Pascal Road as requested by the applicant. Do I hear a second? I will second that motion. We have a motion on the floor and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, so signify, and I probably need to hear your voice. Aye for the chairman.
Aye for Lyndon James.
Aye for Soji John.
Aye for Joe Turner.
Aye for Dee Blackwood.
Yeah, I believe that's all the members that are on. That's a unanimous vote of 5-0. That means we've approved the variance. That is the end of our congratulations to the Jones. You'll still have some requirements, as you know, to go before the town's P&Z and the town council, and Zachary will lead you through that process.
Right.
That brings us to the end of our meeting. So if hearing no further discussion, no other action, I adjourn this meeting at 7:37 p.m. Thank you for your
y'all very
attendance.
much.
Thank
You have a
you.
good night.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to all of the board members. Thank you for your service. Look forward to seeing you in 2021, maybe in person for a change.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Good night.
Appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.